So yes, the next question is, did you ever at any point consider getting an abortion?
I did. I did. I recall actually there were two times when I
Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So I'm doing something different today, something I wanted to do for a while, and I hope it encourages anyone out there who needs that encouragement. I think it's good for us to be vulnerable at times and to let people get a glimpse of our lives, where so others can kind of see that they're not in this alone. Uh, so, so I don't go so much into talking too much in the intro, let me please introduce yourself.
Boma. Well, hi guys. My name is Boma. Thank you, Paulette, for having me on your channel. It's an honor.
Glad to have you.
Yeah.
My small channel.
It's
Hopefully.
crazy. Like, yeah. I'm just thinking about how we met, and
Yeah.
it was like through your video,
Yes.
and we've just connected, you know, going through something similar that I was walking through, and we just connected through that. So it's
Yes.
really great that we can join together and encourage other people out there.
Yes, exactly. So just a little background. So Boma, she contacted me from seeing my video, and then that's how we started talking. We started talking through Instagram. That's been our main way of talking. Actually,
Mhm.
this is actually our first time actually talking like through video. Like
Video,
we've never
yeah.
done anything else except through talk through Instagram chat.
Instagram DM, yeah.
Yeah, but it's been for, I think I can't, how long has it been for
That
16
was like
years or
2020, October, November-ish.
November-ish? When did you have your, okay, wait, let's not go.
Okay.
That's a part of
Yeah.
the question. All right,
Somewhere
so
like end of 2020, early 2021. No, not 2020.
oh, I think
Sorry, 2019. 2019.
that makes
Yeah,
more sense.
2019. Yeah,
That makes more
sorry.
sense. Because I was like
Oh
2020,
my
really?
God.
Okay. But
Yeah,
anyway,
COVID makes everything like it just, yeah, COVID made the whole time go by so quickly.
yes. All
Yeah.
right, so let's get to some of the questions because I don't want this video to be too long. So the first thing I'm going to ask you, I'm just going to be looking at my phone a little bit because I have it saved so I don't forget. All right. So the first question I'm going to ask is, first off, when did you find out you were pregnant, and what was your reaction when you found out?
I remember the day clearly. October 16, 2019, I found out that I was pregnant. I was in denial. That was my reaction. I was
Okay.
in straight up denial. I'm like, no, this it's just not true. I
Mm-hmm.
was just in full on denial for like 2, 3 weeks.
Mm.
And
It
then
took a while to set in, like, I don't feel
yeah,
pregnant, but
like
the test is saying it, or how did you find out?
My body was just feeling somehow. Like I
Uh-huh.
wasn't tracking my cycle or anything, but my body was just off. I
Yeah.
remember the main thing was like one night, I just had my body was just itchy like crazy for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. And then at some point I was like, well, it's been a while since I saw my period. And then I tested and it was positive as
How
like
far
so
along were you?
I was about 10 weeks.
Oh, okay. So you found out like, oh wow, you found out like 2 months afterwards.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow. Because
yeah.
okay, let me just give, because I haven't given people a background of my story, which is wrong of me, but I actually felt my body being off. Like I think I'm kind of in tune with my body to a certain extent. I felt my body off from like 2 weeks. So I think I was still short of a month. I was when I found out I was pregnant because I took the test, and the line wasn't even that bold, but it was
Mhm.
faint. But so then I just knew that,
Like, oh,
yeah.
How
But
did you feel?
funny enough, I didn't set in. I was just looking at it. I was like, because I took four of these cheap tests.
The
I don't
test,
know.
yeah, I got mine from dollar
Maybe in
store.
America it would cost like 50 cents or something, but in Nigeria it's like 100 naira. It was like 100 naira.
Right.
Um, so I took like four of those, and they all came out positive. So I took the first time when I took the first one, I just laid it there, and then I saw a faint line. And I was like, that's probably a hoax or
The
something.
wind blew wrongly
So
and it
yeah, so then I decided to take three more, and I left them there. And then I checked them out, and then I saw all of them, and then I was just looking at them, just like I actually think immediately I saw that I was just like, okay. I remember looking in the mirror, and I said, okay, God, I know I put myself in this mess. I don't know what I'm gonna do, so I'm sorry. Please help me. And then I just left it because I didn't know how to process it at that time.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
later on that it really kind of started to set in, but that was my first reaction. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. I just knew that I had this situation, and I was just like, okay, all right. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh yes, so next question. Oh, and what was I about to ask? So how did you go about getting your pregnancy test? You just
I
went.
just went to the dollar store, like my apartment then it was just across the dollar store. So I
Mm-hmm,
was coming back from work and I just got it.
mm-hmm,
And because it was from the dollar store, I'm like, it's probably fake.
mm-hmm,
Yeah. And then 2 weeks later, or maybe a week and a half, I went to like the drug store shoppers
mm-hmm.
in my head, like because it's the test kit was more expensive. I'm like, well, it's probably gonna be
Oh
the real
yes,
one.
that's actually what I did too. The first four, I just said, okay, maybe those were wrong. So then I think a week later I got a more legit test, and that one still came out positive. So then I was like,
Yeah.
okay,
And then that's when I was like, oh
yeah,
God, I burst out in tears, like in the bathroom. I just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Did you
no.
have any symptoms like some people with the throwing up or anything in
You
the
know
beginning?
what? I never threw up for half a day.
Yeah,
Ever.
I didn't have any of those symptoms either, except
Yeah.
for like a little bit later on. Maybe if I brushed my teeth and my toothbrush went a little too far back.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
later on, I had like a metallic taste or something like that, and smell of food. Like eventually, well, that
Mm,
was a little bit like later
later,
on in the
later.
first trimester.
I'm
Later on
sure.
in the first trimester, I'll say
Right.
maybe the third third month or so that I started feeling some symptoms, but I never did have any like severe
Yeah.
symptoms. Okay,
I
so
think
the
it
next
made
question. So the next question is, did you ever at any point consider getting, oh no, that's not the next question. Okay, hold on. Let me look for the one else. Okay. I gave you, wait,
one.
hold up. Let me see. Okay, yes. So how did your family, friends, and loved ones take the news? Also,
Um,
you guys, oh, sorry. You guys might hear my baby in the background, and she might join us eventually. Just to let
she's
you
very
guys know.
welcome.
Yeah. Let you guys know. I have a 4-month-old and a 5-month-old. Sorry, 5-year-old.
5 years.
A 5-year-old. Yeah. So
How did they take it? Like a lot of people didn't know. I only had maybe 3, 4 people that actually knew.
mhm,
Um, I remember the first person that I told was my friend's mom, and I think she wasn't expecting it, but she was super helpful, super supportive. Like she would call me every day and check on me and ask me if I wanted to eat. She'd
oh, that's good.
go for my prenatal appointments with me. Yeah, so she was the only one that knew for like the first 3-ish months.
Hmm.
Because I felt like I just wanted to be, because I felt very, um, I don't know, fragile and vulnerable. So
Yeah.
I was very strategic about the people that I let in on that whole season and
And that's very
time.
important to do so, because you don't want to talk to the wrong person who will just,
Exactly.
make it even like it's already a big thing. So you don't want to talk to someone who's gonna even make it an
Blow it
even
up.
bigger thing,
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. So my friends, the few that knew, were really supportive.
that's great.
They were surprised, but super supportive. My family did not take it good at all. Um, yeah, there were a lot of emotions and back and forth,
Yeah,
and things were said and all of that.
yeah,
So yeah, they didn't really take it good. Yeah.
yeah. I remember you told me about that, and that was like one of the biggest um down uh,
Yeah.
things
Was
about it,
it's so
because
hard
the
to do
main people
it.
that you wanted to like, be supportive of you to some extent, they kind of like left you. I hope
Exactly.
it's
It's like
okay to
I
dive.
felt like
I hope it's okay to dive a little bit into it, because there are other people who are probably experiencing the same thing. I know some
mhm,
people's families, like, they disown them completely.
right.
Um, would you say that you got disowned, or it was just mainly kind of like we're not?
Um, it was just I wouldn't say disowned, but things were said that almost. Is Anna L joining us?
Yeah.
Hi.
Mhm.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I wouldn't say disowned, but maybe I just didn't take it like that, but things were said along those lines.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Uh-oh.
yeah. I don't know how
Let me see
how
how I can do this. I'm gonna be breastfeeding while I'm talking.
okay.
Anyways,
Motherhood,
yeah.
reality.
Yes, it's the reality of it. So yes, continue. Sorry, I'm
Oh
here.
yeah, sorry. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I was saying that like they didn't disown me. I think what helped was kind of like I don't live with my parents. Like
Hmm.
they live in Nigeria, I live in Canada, so um they didn't like literally kick me out of the house or anything like
Yeah,
that. But they said a bunch of things that honestly till now I'm still trying to shake off,
kind of still
so
like
to
in
say.
recovery healing mode.
Yeah, exactly. Like things that I just never thought they'd ever say to me.
Hmm.
Especially like, being pregnant, you're just in it's just a whole vulnerable season and any little thing just gets blown out of proportion. But not really
Yeah,
blown out of proportion because
yeah,
like those feelings are valid, but it's like very
yeah,
much heightened.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want to say in that regard to anybody else who's probably maybe experiencing that when you are in a vulnerable position like that and you have your family kind of like project how disappointed, I understand that they can be disappointed and everything, but like they say very hurtful and mean things to you. I think that's more of a reflection of the grace that they give themselves and that they're able to give others than it is on you in
Mm,
general. Like,
right.
if we're not able to give grace the way Jesus gave grace, or the way God gives grace, then I feel like there's a problem with our the way we do things. That is if they're Christian, because your parents, your family, and whatnot, they're Christians,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not everybody is Christian, so it's not the same for everyone else.
Hmm.
But if you are coming from a Christian background with a family who is Christian, and they're not able to give you a certain amount of grace, then I think that's an issue. But that's a discussion for another
For
day.
another time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something to work on, but yeah, let's not go too much into that. But thankfully, you've come out of it and you've had good supportive friends,
Yeah.
and that has helped you along the way.
Oh, very
So
cool. I cannot even. Yeah.
yes, so the next question is, what made you finally decide to take responsibility to keep your baby regardless of how it will affect your life?
What made me do that? Honestly, I can't, I just, I felt like I had come to the point where it was, is Jesus Christ really my Lord? Like I can't, I knew very much what was the God pleasing thing to do, but my head, it's like it was hard. Like I had my life all planned out, and this was not a part of the plan. So I can't really say that there was a point where I'm like, oh, I think I just took it one day at a time. Like, God, I really want to do what honors you.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like, he just poured in so much empowerment, like just enough grace for each day, so to say.
I love that. Just enough
Yeah,
grace for each day. Yeah.
honestly, that's how it felt. It's like, okay, I don't know what it's gonna be like, but like I'm honestly just trusting you, and I'm trusting that your grace is enough for me. And it was almost like just every day there was whatever it was, like there was just enough for that day. So I would say just to straight up to the question is like I came to the point where I'm like, okay, am I fully surrendered to the Lord? Is he really my Lord, or am I the Lord of my life? And it's like, well, I just want to do what pleases God. And he was so, 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 like, I cannot put enough souls.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like he honored that that
That
I had made
promise.
in my heart, that like, God, I want you, like I really want you to be my Lord, even when I don't know how things will go. And it was like he just honored that. And yeah.
That's beautiful. And I think that that's actually just to go to say, like, God, he doesn't, in as much as we don't go and we don't listen to him the way that we should at times.
Mhm.
He never goes back on his promises. And that's the beautiful thing about him. Hey, she's laughing at me. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yes, but like I was saying, what was I saying?
Like you were saying that, I think the way I understood it is even when we derail, he's still faithful.
Yes, he's still faithful. And like we make so many mess ups in our life, and he's still willing to like help us out, even though we make
Yeah,
a mess about it. And
yeah,
that's the beautiful thing about it. That's a beautiful, really nice thing about
it
it because
is. Oh my God.
I don't know where I would be without God.
Yeah.
Anyways, let me
True.
just take a little short break really quick and give this little one over to her nana so
Okay.
I can continue freely. I'm coming. I'm back. Yes, so the next question. I hope you are you comfortable with these questions?
Yeah, yeah,
All right.
totally. Like I went through them when you sent them, so I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
these are things I can answer.
Okay, cool. So what are so here's some two questions that I actually added that I didn't give you. What are some of the challenges you've faced as a single mom so far? Apart from, with your parents and everything.
Some of the challenges I've faced as a single mom, I'd say the top two really is trying to, or feeling like I'm making all the decisions alone. Sometimes it's like, um, well, if I had someone else who my son was also priority in their life, and we're like trying to make, a decision, like what daycare, what school and that kind of thing. So yeah, in that, I don't know the word to use, but just feeling overwhelmed with the amount of decisions that it's like it's up to me to make.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
overwhelming. It's
Yeah.
like instead of you're doing two people job.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
then the worst part about it is that if you're graced and you're blessed to have the support of your family around you, then you also can get advice from
From that,
from the
exactly.
mom. But when you're like completely on your own, you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm being thrown out into the ocean What am I going to
Like
do? I don't know
alone.
how to raise this kid. I don't want to mess up.
Like I've never raised a kid before.
Yeah. So, yeah, I completely understand. And
Yeah.
what would you say are some of the magical moments you've had as a single mom?
Oh, I would say just seeing, like thinking about it now, seeing my son go from a newborn
Mm-hmm.
to crawling to walking. It's like at that newborn phase, I'm like, okay, two sleepless nights, I can't. I just can't do this anymore. Like, when is this gonna end? And then, 4 months later, he's walking. Or like I remember the first
Oh,
time
he was walking at 4 months?
sorry, crawling. I meant to
Oh,
say
okay.
no, yeah. Like he started crawling at 5 months. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good.
It was pretty quick. And I remember the first time he intentionally smiled at me.
Aw.
I was like,
The first
oh,
smiles are awesome.
yeah, oh my gosh. So I would say just seeing the different developmental phases is it's a different kind of magic with every stage of
Yeah,
development.
I
Yeah.
completely understand. All right, so the next question is what are okay now. So yes, the next question is did you ever at any point consider getting an abortion?
I did. I did. I recall actually there were 2 times when I called the my OBGYN, OBGYN, like the clinic, and asking them that like, oh, can they book like a procedure, an abortion procedure appointment for me?
Yeah.
Um, and then the next day I was like, well, I don't need it anymore. Yeah, so 1000% I did consider that.
And
I
what made you like why did you, change your mind?
I would say honestly that two things. So because one of the first people to know that I told was my friend's mom, I felt like the Lord wanted that was the first person the Lord wanted me to talk to. Uh it was like she kept me accountable. Like, well, if I do this, and like when she calls me tomorrow to ask how I am
You're like,
or how many months, I was like, what do I say? Yeah.
yeah.
So having that accountability,
Hmm.
um, and also, I feel like God met me at different points. I know the first time that I booked the appointment was just because I think I watched a movie that was so triggering, and I just felt like so much shame. And I was like, I don't want, like, I don't want to be in this person's shoes. I don't want to do this.
Hmm.
And the next, or I think it was at night, I think I was reading my Bible or I was just journaling, and I don't know the verse, but I know what it says. It's in Isaiah, but I don't know the chapter and the verse. But it's
Hmm.
literally states that like Jesus took our shame, our transgression, and our wounds on him. Like I've always known it, but that was the first time that it was actually coming alive. And so it was almost like the Lord was just telling me that like, why do you think you're gonna have to be the one to take the shame? Like someone else already took it. And
Oh,
it was
that's
like,
so nice.
yeah. I was like, do you know
Let me
what?
do like those people do in like the poetry clubs and stuff like that. Gems, gems.
No, I remember it so clearly. And it was like he could have gone to the cross with clothes on, or he could have been stabbed in his sleep. But just think about all of the humiliation that he had to go through to be on the cross. Like he took all of that shame. So I don't know why you're saying you're gonna have to carry that shame. But yeah, that was one of the major times that I feel like the Lord just really met me, and yeah, so the next day I called to like cancel the appointment.
Well, that's
Yeah,
really good. All right. So, because I know that's something that I think most it's an option these days. It's a big option these days. So
yeah,
most of us, our minds go to straight to that. And then I
yeah.
think another thing is that for me, I was scared of living with the regret of
Mm,
doing it because they don't talk about it enough. I know people are saying, yeah, it's my body, my
I
decision.
tried. Yeah.
They don't talk about the long time effects mentally and physically that it
Hmm.
has on people's bodies, like whereby when people get abortions, it can actually mess up your chances of getting
Job
pregnant in the
later on.
future. So if you
Yeah,
get married in the future and you want children in the future, there are people who have had abortions and they can no longer have kids anymore, but they don't talk
yeah,
about that. They just
exactly.
tell you get the abortion.
Go get the
And
abortion.
then
If you don't want
there
the child,
are
it's like whatever.
so many people who struggle mentally
Yeah.
and they've gone through series and series and series of depression
Hmm.
because they cannot let go of the fact that you know, they terminated that pregnancy. And
Yeah.
I'm not here to throw shade on anyone who has actually gone through an abortion procedure because, like as you just said, now Jesus, he died on the cross to carry that shame for us,
Yeah.
and there's no sin too great that he can't forgive us. But if someone is contemplating abortion, I really think they should consider otherwise.
Yeah, it's not. I feel like when people talk about abortion, they make it so glaring that like, oh, you're just walking and work out and it's done. But there's
They don't
long
really they don't
effect.
really show the impact that it has on people, and
Yeah,
that's the deception of it.
exactly. They're not telling the full story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next question I have is, how has God played a significant role? Well, I think you've already kind of answered this throughout this video, but it is, how has God played a significant role through all of this, and how has He helped you?
Oh my gosh. I can't like I I can't list it. I literally cannot list the
You can't
ways
list
that
it. You would have to
it
have been
helped me.
blogging it or writing it
Exactly.
down.
But I would just say that through every stage, through every phase, like he's just, I like to put it this way, like he's been my constant,
Mhm.
right? And it's like he's just been there. And through people, through I remember even when I was trying to get a job because I lost my job that I had because of COVID. Before
Mhm.
I had it for my son, and it was like I don't even know how I'm gonna work. I don't even know because there was just a lot of changes with daycare. I'm like, what am I gonna do? And like the job that I ended up getting, I'm like in my wildest dreams, I could never have landed that job like ever. And
Mm.
so yeah, I can just think back and through everything, it's like he has just been there. Like he's just been my constant.
Yeah, and
That's
I
how I
think
would say.
I don't know, like when we were talking back then, I don't know if it was in 2020 or if it was in 2019, before you had the baby, did you need to get a job and a place
Uh,
to live or something? Or how did you, and also I remember, I know it's like I'm telling you a story now, but I remember while you were pregnant and once you gave birth, you were able to stay with someone, right?
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because the people that I stayed with, my friend and her mom, like they just moved into the city like the year before.
Mm-hmm.
And I know even when her mom told me that I could come stay, I just felt like I don't even want to stress anybody's life, but
Yeah.
like they were just so supportive.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I'm gonna tear up because I think back and I'm just like, I don't, I
That
just
was
see the
God.
fingerprints
That
of God
was that
like
was
through
God showing you
everything.
grace. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I just felt like, I don't know, I think the reality of being his daughter became a
Mm.
reality. Like,
Oh, she about to
yeah,
make
oh
me
my
cry
gosh,
too. Oh,
I'm
oh,
sorry.
oh, that's beautiful. All right, so let's keep it going. Wait, how long is this? Let me see. Uh-oh. We're about to run out of time.
Ooh.
Okay, we got like 10 minutes left. I think we can finish up.
Okay.
All right, so what's the next one? So what steps did you take to prepare yourself for single motherhood? For those who need to know, have like a little brief summary. Like what like steps?
I think I started reaching out for resources,
Mm-hmm.
and just taking a step into other people's stories. So I know one way was like financially. Another thing was I don't think you fully get the big picture until you're actually walking through it.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. But I would say reaching out to people who are mothers, are single mothers, are married mothers,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of asking them, what should I expect?
Yes.
And also looking for resources online, really. Um, yeah.
That's good. So basically just get advice, check out forums,
Mm-hmm.
find out what resources in your community you have access to, where you can
Yeah.
get cheap clothes or, something. I mean, if you can
Yeah.
afford it and you got money in the bank, go for the new.
And that was another thing, like, like saving and also looking for where I can get free stuff, because I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of times resources for abortion are so glaring, but when you
Hmm.
actually look for resources to support you, they're available. Like they're actually available. I found a lot of those. So yeah.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, so let's move on to the next. Let me see. What is the next one? I'm sorry, my stuff is, I thought I had it in order, but
It's not.
mm, it's in order enough. So, I think this is like second to the last. What are three things you've learned from your experience? What three major things have you learned from this experience?
I would say the main thing for me was that seasons don't last forever. I remember hating being pregnant, and then after I had my baby, like the first month, it was not easy. I'm like, well, take me back to being pregnant because sleep. I didn't have someone waking me up.
Yeah,
And then, while he's growing through I'm like, I'm over this newborn phase right now. Like, when is he gonna start doing things for
take me
himself?
back to the newborn.
Then when he starts running around and I'm saying like, no, come back here. I'm like, can you go back to like being a newborn? So I would say just really leaving and appreciating and making the most out of each season, because seasons change.
Girl, you got gems. I'm sorry. But anyways, continue.
No, it's been very like that's one major thing
I
about
need to hear that right now because I'm going through this whole
Oh
newborn
yeah, I
phase.
guess the newborn thing again. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And honestly, the second thing is just compassion.
Mm.
It's just been I don't know, I just feel like I see when I see people going through a certain thing, I'm not like, oh my gosh, like how could you? I'm more like, oh my god, that must be hard, or what is the root cause of that problem? Like what is the story? It's just almost like my heart has just grown bigger. Just
Mm. Now
yeah.
that you've been able to go through your own story
Yeah,
and
yeah,
journey of something, you're less critical of
of other people,
of
yeah,
other
and,
people.
and and seeing people, come into the moment with me, and it's like, it just made me just get so much more compassionate. Yeah.
Mm. That's good.
And I think the third thing is just look, God is good. God is good.
That
God
is
is
good.
faithful. He is real, and I I don't know. Yeah, that's just it in a nutshell.
That's good. All right, so we almost done. Let's see, last question here. Question which slash tip or whatever. So this is something that's been going around. I don't know if you've seen it happen a lot in America. They're talking about this whole Roe versus Wade
Mm,
abortion. thing, ruling out in certain states and whatever. I'm not going to go too much into political detail or conversation into that, but I just want to know, concerning that topic of abortion, pro-life, pro-choice, which is very controversial, which is a very controversial topic these days. For someone who is confused and contemplating to keep their baby or terminate their pregnancy, what advice can you give them?
Honestly, I would say get your conviction solid, because I feel like right now people are, like you said, it's very controversial, but the main thing out there is that, like, oh, is your my body my choice? It's a, it's not a child, it's a bunch of cells, whatever. I feel like maybe 10 years from now they'd be saying something different. But I would say to really get your conviction right and get it from the Lord, because He's the one who created life. And so when those convictions are firm in Him and you actually know His perspective and His view on it, then I feel like He also gives the grace to stand firm in those convictions, even when things are wavering, because it's like the ways of the world will just always waver. They're hot today, cold tomorrow, warm next tomorrow. So yeah, that's one thing I would say. And I think also not to be afraid to ask the Lord questions. That's
Yeah,
something that I had to go over again and again with each phase, walking through, like, just ask the Lord questions, because sometimes He just brings certain words alive, and it's like nobody can talk you out of it. Like,
hmm,
nobody can convince you
yeah,
otherwise, because it, it's like it was just a heart to heart, um like it was your heart merging with that of the Lord, and
yeah.
it, nothing can take you back on it. So
Yeah.
yeah, not
And
to be
just
afraid
to
to ask
add
the
to
Lord.
that really quickly, one thing I will say as well is being a mom and a single mom is not the end of the world.
Hmm.
A lot of us feel like it's our body, it's our life, it's this, that, nowadays, which is going on. But something I explained to someone recently is that your life can change dramatically in any kind of way. You can get a disease, you can get an illness, something happen where your legs will be chopped off.
Right.
Anything can happen, and your life is just completely different and changed. So don't think that just because, this, if you take this event from your life right now, that your life still can't dramatically change.
Yeah.
um your life, I don't believe that our lives are our own, but again,
Yeah.
like you said, with your conviction, does your convictions line up with the word of God, or do they line up with what the world is saying? So you
Say,
really need to figure out, who are you going to believe? Are you going to
yeah.
believe this, or are you going to believe that?
Right.
And no judgment to anyone, but yeah, you need to know your convictions. You need to know what you believe in, and what you will settle for, and what you won't settle for. So yeah. So OMG, thank you so much for coming on. I think this has really
So,
been good. I think there's a lot of gems in this, and I did not expect it to be this good. I've been procrastinating. God help me. Sorry so much. But this is good, and I'm really happy that we did it. For those who are watching, who maybe, are in the pregnant phase, I hope this has been some source of encouragement for you, and something that will, like I said, encourage you to continue, and to also to trust in God. And for
yeah.
those who are still in the single mom phase, working through it, keep going. God will keep you. It's not going to be easy. We all have those phases in life. It's back and forth. Some days are good, some days are
A
bad.
bad, yeah.
Um, but with God, it's better. It only gets better.
Yeah. It only
So
gets better.
yes, it only gets better. So uh, thank you so much, Boma, for coming on. God bless you.
Amazing.
And if you haven't already, subscribe. If you guys like these videos, please tell me in the comments section, whatever you want to put in the comment section. Don't put anything, but put sensible things
Thing with respect, and
with respect
yeah.
in the comment section, and I will get to you guys. And so like this video, subscribe, and expect more. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Okay.
Bye.